Here's an entertaining short story about a guy who handles things right by breaking up with his girlfriend after she crossed a major boundary of his. Early on in the relationship, he made it clear that it's a deal breaker, that he doesn't like tattoos. He finds it incredibly unattractive, as many guys do. Well, what does his girlfriend go do? She gets not just a tattoo, but a serious tattoo, and he breaks up with her. And of course, she loses her whole mind over this whole thing. And I'll be going to go over here, guys, to make the point that you set boundaries and the girl crosses them, which they typically will do to test your strength. You got every right to end it because we know they will dump a guy like that, if even for the littlest thing. Titled, I broke up with my girlfriend over tattoos. She no longer agrees with our breakup. It's nuts. And a shout out to Harry for sending this story. I know, yeah, guys, come join me on X, formerly Twitter, that handles SSM channels. Come join the crew over there. Okay. He says, I want to start this off with a disclaimer that there is nothing wrong with having tattoos if you want them and like them. They aren't my thing. Please don't take this as a condemnation of tattoos or the people that get them as a whole. Well, nobody here has, dude. My ex and I were together for about a year. Early on in the relationship, she had mentioned wanting to get some tattoos. Notice he said some, not just one, but like multiple ones. I told her that she had every right to do that since it's her body, but I find tattoos very unattractive, and I would likely break up with her if she went through it. Okay, made abundantly clear. It became a small fight, and she was cold and passive-aggressive about it for a few days, but eventually she said she understood and would not be getting the tattoos done. Bullcrap, bullcrap, bullcrap. And the little drama that she brought about that, being passive-aggressive and all that should have been a sign probably to walk away. Well, fast forward to about 2 months ago, and she makes another attempt to get me on board with tattoos. I knew she wasn't going to back down. I reiterated to her my stance and tell her again she can do it, but I won't stick around if she does. Okay, he made this abundantly clear. A slow person could figure this out. Well, I went out of town to visit my cousin for a week and come home to her with a partial sleeve done. Her arm was basically one giant scab. That's nasty. So what he meant was, if you are foreigners and don't understand what I'm talking about, like her whole freaking arm here, or most of it, was covered in tattoos. That is nasty. Again, to each their own, but I don't find it attractive. I asked her what's going on, and she just nonchalantly says her and her best friend talked about it and agreed that I was being unreasonable, so she went ahead and used my time out of town to get it done so I wouldn't be around a buzzkill about it. Okay, well, you and your best friend can go hang out and be single because I'm not going to stay with you. She said she got as much as the guy was willing to do in one session, inked in once, and she was healed. She's planning to get it extended. Oh, how nice. Well, knock yourself out. We're done. The tattoo was already a deal breaker for me, but the blatant disrespect and the casual way she was implying my opinion didn't matter, broke my feelings for her right then and there. Yeah, it wasn't just the fact that she did that and how he found her physically, not attractive, but her attitude about it. He made it clear, but she's like, I don't care. They always test, guys. But this is something that's going to be with her forever, unless she goes through the painful process of having removed down the road. We fought, and eventually she just told me to get the hell out and locked herself in the bathroom. Thank God she did this when she did, because I was close to not renewing my lease in my apartment and moving in with her. I packed up my stuff and left while she talked crap about me to her best friend on the phone. Of course. She wasn't expecting you to leave. She thought she had you. And if you stayed with her, I guarantee there'd be blue hair and nose septum rings, whatever you call them, like the hoop in the nose and all this stuff. Oh yeah, it wouldn't stop. It says here, I dropped her stuff off from my place the next day. She told me I was making a huge mistake and throwing away good thing away for petty reasons. I'm throwing away because I'm not attracted to you anymore, and you have proven through your actions you're an a-hole. Well, I just handed her bag and left. That was weeks ago, and I didn't hear from her until today. She called me, and here's a very brief summary of the phone call. Now listen to this. And by the way, I bet you notice she said I didn't hear from her. She's probably going off with some guy and having fun, but realizing, oh, I'm not the catch I think I am. Here's their phone call. She says to him, okay, the petty drama has run its course. You can move back in and move on, okay? He made it clear they're done. He says we are broken up. It's over permanently. I don't want to get back together. She says, we aren't getting back together. This was just a spat that got out of hand. You freaked out and left in a huff. I know you're just too proud to admit you're wrong, so we'll just call it even and you can come back. In other words, gents, her ego can't handle that he ended it with her. So she's making out like, oh, they just had a spat, a tiff, a fight. No, he's done with her. He says, no, I told you repeatedly that tattoos are a deal breaker for me. You did it anyway and then disrespected me on top of that with the guy you went about. We are done. You can move on now. Find a guy that finds your new ink attractive because I find it repulsive and wouldn't be able to look at you or that arm again. So you hear the joke about guys banging an ugly chick, put a bag on her head and do her. Well, in this case, he can put a big bag on her freaking arm and do her. Yeah, it isn't just the tattoo that repulses him, it's a whole personality. And even then, in the end, she can't act, reasonable about this. Well, the conversation goes in circles for a bit before I hang up the phone. Dude, you shouldn't have wasted your time talking to her. Then she tries sending me some nude pictures in an attempt to seduce me, but her body does nothing for me now, and her sleeve was visible, which even after it healed was gross and unflattering. I told her I deleted them and to leave me alone. Blocked. Good, dude. Well, you think it's over? You think her ego can handle that he just, he ended it again? No. She then messaged me again on Snapchat saying she never agreed to a breakup and I owed her a conversation face-to-face if I wanted to end things. Blocked again. He doesn't owe her crap. This is not a marriage. They don't need to separate and go through lawyers and everything. It's a breakup. Done. But, again, her ego can't handle it. I know it's bad. It's bad for her to be a guy calling his ex crazy, but this girl is nuts. Dude, nobody here is going to have a problem with you. There are plenty of crazy girls out there. There are crazy guys out there, too. It says, I find all the talk about me being shallow pretty funny, considering she told me that if I ever gain weight or stopped going to the gym, she'd leave me. Aha! Now we're getting somewhere here. She had her boundaries, too. He didn't cross them. Hell, she put on weight throughout our entire relationship, and it never once made me consider leaving her. I still found her beautiful. When she changed her hair color to colors I didn't like, I never said a bad word to her about it. Aha! What did I tell you about coloring her hair? That was a test. That was first changing her hair. First she gains weight, he doesn't leave her. Then she changed her hair color, he doesn't leave her. So she's like, hey, I can get tattoos, he won't leave me. Nope, that did it. I didn't like it, but it wasn't a deal breaker. On to the last edit here. So this was great. The sub really is great for getting these things off your chest, blah, blah, blah. He's talking about Reddit. I had a lot of fun reading responses, and while I didn't need validation to know what I did was right, I still appreciate the supportive folks. The negative ones accused me of being shallow, controlling, and weird, and all sorts of other things because I have a preference were fun too. Didn't change my mind a bit, but I'm glad you guys were able to get these things off your chest as well. Yeah, a lot of people gave him a hard time. Big freaking surprise. Now to his update. Guess what? She still hasn't accepted the breakup. She showed up at my place last night with a bag full of my bathroom stuff from her place. Just a bottle of body wash and a few other things. And she asked to come in to talk, but I stepped outside and we talked out front where the cameras could see. Smart dude. He probably learned that from Reddit. And really, she has to bring back his freaking shampoo and body wash. She can throw it in the garbage. This was an excuse. She asked if I was really breaking up with her over a tattoo, and I reiterated that it was about more than the tattoo at this point. And that I wasn't breaking up with her. I had already broken up with her weeks ago. She tried to argue with me that our relationship was stronger than that, but I told her that it wasn't. Yeah, hey, I let it go that you were putting on weight. I let it go you dyed your hair blue. There's probably piercings there too, but that did it with the freaking tattoos. Now, while I was comfortable with her, this whole incident made me realize I wasn't happy with her. Her treating me poorly was the wake-up call we both needed to go our separate ways and find people we could be truly happy with. She kept trying to argue that this was crazy and I was throwing a good thing away. You got blue hair. You've porked up since we started dating. You got arm tattoo and there's more coming. No, I'm not throwing away a good thing, Jessica. I told her that I wish she'd just gotten a tattoo when we started dating. We could have broken up and been just friends. No, you wouldn't have been because you would have rejected her. She wouldn't have liked you. She said she considered it, but decided she'd rather be with me than get a tattoo, so she lied to me when she said she was okay not getting one. What'd I tell you guys? There's no way she was happy with that. Then when I went on a trip with her best friend, convinced her to get it and claimed I'd get over it and stick around. Oh, blame the friend. Shocker, women and accountability. The guy that did the first part of her tattoo was an old friends with benefits of her friend and agreed to do it at a discount. The conversation sort of went in circles for a bit before she tossed the bag at me and left crying, yelling, "Fine, we're fucking over then." So now she can say that she ended it, right? So that's it. She showed up my place like a lot of people predicted, but no stabs or anything like that. Friends told me she made a bunch of vague posts about heartbreak on social media, but I haven't seen any of it. Of course she put on social media. Regardless of how things went, I do hope she heals and finds herself someone who can be more supportive of her choices than I was. Dude, you were very supportive. Thanks to those people who offered me support in my decision, and to everyone calling me shallow, controlling, and weird for my stance on tattoos. I gotta say, I had a blast reading those comments. Absolutely hilarious. In other words, I'm not gonna change who I am because you people are pissed off at me. So there you go, guys. Set boundaries early on, and if they break them, you got every right to terminate the relationship because we know darn well they're going to. And don't fall for the crap of being called insecure, controlling, all the laundry list of terms that are thrown at men for, God forbid, having some standards. Because we know that us guys are dumped for the smallest little things known to man that has nothing to do with the big picture. So, good for him.